Hey y'all, today I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite treats ever, peanut butter fudge. But not just any peanut butter fudge, because y'all know I don't do ordinary. This is my copycat version of the Fudgeries old-fashioned peanut butter fudge that they used to make many moons ago when they were in our area. It's so incredibly smooth and creamy, and there's a ribbon of peanut butter in the middle, which gives it this salty sweet vibe. It is truly the best peanut butter fudge I've ever had, and my husband and son agree. So let's get into it, and I'll show you how to make it. The first thing we need to do is get a saucepan that's at least a 4-quart size. If you don't have a 4-quart saucepan, a Dutch oven will also work. Just make sure it's heavy bottomed. It's going to seem like it's much too big, but trust me, you'll need it this large. I'm pouring into the pot first my half and half, which is the same as a light cream, I think, in other areas of the world. This is 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons or 270 grams of half and half. And to that, I'm carefully adding 3 cups or 600 grams of sugar. The trick to getting the smoothest fudge ever is to try and pour the sugar directly into the middle without touching the sides. The reason I do this is that the more sugar crystals that cling to the sides of the pot, the more your fudge will be very grainy. And I do another step too when it starts boiling that I'll go over at that time. But see how none of the sugar is touching the sides here? I'm turning the burner on to medium-low, and the sugar will slowly begin melting into the cream. You can also coax it along gently with a wooden spoon or spatula, almost kind of like petting it, if you will, being careful not to get any of that sugar on the sides. And this whole process will take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes before the sugar is nearly melted and the mixture begins to boil. And don't rush it, y'all. This is important. I know some of you might want to turn up the heat to get it going quicker. Please don't do that. You will burn it. You will have grainy fudge. It just won't be good. So just keep gently coaxing that sugar into the middle and into the liquid here. Sometimes making candy can seem so intimidating to some people, but I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be intimidating. It is so easy. I've been making candy since I was literally like 12 years old. I started making taffy at around that time. I got this recipe out of some kids magazine and everyone loved it so much that I got my whole family involved in pulling the taffy. And we would flavor it with all kinds of different flavors, and we'd eventually send it out to our extended families at Christmas time, and they all just loved it. So if I can do it at 12, y'all, you can do it at any age. Okay, most of the sugar has dissolved now, and the mixture, it's starting to boil around the edges. So I'm going to clip on my candy thermometer onto the side. This is my new digital one. And the second step to prevent sugar crystals I'll take is to brush down the sides of the pot with a pastry brush dipped in water. That just catches any of those sugar crystals that might have made their way to the sides when the mixture was agitated. Okay, I've turned my heat up to medium. And once it starts boiling, because of the half and half, I really need to constantly stir it. So there's no walking away from this. It'll be about a 10 to 15 minute process. And you just have to be patient and just gently stir it back and forth. And see why you need a large pot? This mixture really rises as it's boiling. And if you don't have a big enough pot, it will boil over and you will have the biggest mess on your hands. So trust me on the pot size. I'm just going to stand here and stir this until the temperature reaches 238 Fahrenheit on my thermometer. So I'll see you back here when that happens. Okay, y'all, it's been about 15 minutes and we're almost at 238. This is the most difficult part of making fudge, and that is just waiting. You have to sometimes stand there and stir and wait. And here we are. We're at 238. So I'm removing this from the heat immediately. And without like moving it around too much and agitating it, I'm going to gently place 2 tablespoons of softened butter, a half a cup or 120 grams of creamy peanut butter, and my vanilla bean paste, which is about a teaspoon or so, onto the top of the mixture, but don't stir it. You don't want to stir it at this point, because it has not cooled down enough. So I still have my thermometer in here, and I'm just going to keep it in there, and I'll keep checking back on this until the temperature drops to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This could take another 15 minutes or so. Be patient. All right, y'all, we are there, and I'm touching the sides. It's warm, but it's not hot. I can actually keep my hands on the sides. So I grabbed my rubber spatula, and I'm going to start stirring this vigorously until it begins to thicken and loses some of its gloss. You can put this in a stand mixer or use a handheld, but sometimes it goes so quickly, like it is right now, that there's no time for that, and you're just going to waste time, and the fudge is going to set up before you even get it out of the pan. So this is already setting up. I'm going to quickly drop this onto a sheet of wax paper. You can also use parchment. I just tend to use wax paper for most of my candy making. And I'm going to spread this out into a rectangle that's about a ½ an inch thick. This is not necessary. You could stop at this point and just cut it into squares once it's completely cooled down, but this was always the appealing part of the Fudgeries peanut butter thing that they did, that peanut butter tunnel. So this is what I'm doing, and it makes a huge difference in the quality of the fudge. I'm just going to spread the other half of the peanut butter on one side, which is another ½ a cup or 120 grams. And now I'll just gently fold the other side over that so I can make like a sandwich of sorts. Yeah, it looks cracked and all, but don't be worried. That's perfectly normal. That's how it's supposed to look at this stage. It will smooth out. It will be the smoothest, best tasting fudge, y'all, you will ever have. I promise. If you love peanut butter fudge, you have to make this recipe. I'm just doing my best to wrap this up real quick. Now, it will get greasy, and eventually I'm going to switch to just a piece of plastic wrap, but for now I'm keeping it in the wax paper. And the thing about fudge, it gets better as it ages, y'all. So it's the creamiest and dreamiest at about day 2 and on. But of course, we can't wait until day 2 to test it. So I'm just going to unwrap this and have a little taste and show you how wonderful it is. It's completely cool now, and I'll just slice a piece of this off. You can see that peanut butter in the middle. It's literally the best fudge I've ever eaten. And I've eaten a lot of fudge in my life. I've tried peanut butter fudge from all over the country. This one is so smooth, so peanut buttery, with that extra layer of the straight up peanut butter in the middle. It is heaven, y'all. Enjoy.